Full time at the G-Tech Community Stadium, Brentford 3, West Ham United 2, a third successive defeat in the Premier League for West Ham, and that was poor. It was, there's no denying it. Frustrated is probably the word. And when you look at the bigger picture, I think it's slightly unlucky. 3 of our 4 best players couldn't be involved in today's game. But the thing that's really annoyed me and the thing that's really angered me is a game was there to win today. And don't get me wrong, I know Moyes can't stop Antonio getting in the way of Ben Rama scoring it. Because if we score that as 3-1, I think we win the game comfortably. But it stays at 2-1 at that point. The in-game management from David Moyes, it's got to be the worst in the league. I talk about Danny Ings on a regular basis, and Danny Ings wasn't the reason why we lost today's game. He wasn't, of course he wasn't. But to bring him on was just lunacy. It was complete lunacy. Some of them subs today, I just sat there and went, what are you watching, David Moyes? What are you watching? And the bottom line of it is that he got the tactics wrong from the second half. That game was there to win, but we sat back. He started the game peculiarly with 2 up front, it looked like, and the tactics were a bit all over the place today, and the formation and everything is reasonably difficult to dissect, to be honest with you, because everybody just seemed to be everywhere. It seems like a million miles ago that Kudus scored that sensational goal. We'll get onto that in just a second, but I'm going to just get my rant over and done with to start with. Is the way we set up today. I talked about on the tactics show, I talked about on the preview show, it was always going to be, our midfield was always going to suffer today because of obviously the 2 absentees of Paqueta and what's his name, Alvarez. We were always going to be a little bit light and a little bit more weak in midfield, but Moyes didn't act upon it. Pretty much from the latter stages of the first half all the way through the second half, it was blatantly obvious throughout the whole match, in fact, that we were light in midfield, and they were Brentford picking up the ball in pockets. They were winning all the second balls, and the pockets of space Brentford were utilising effectively, and they were capitalising on it, and they identified where we were going wrong, and they exploited us. They exploited every part of that tactics sort of situation. And you know what, just a little bit, well, not a little bit, just very frustrated that Moyes didn't act upon it and find a solution, because it cost us the game in the end. And yes, I know, don't get me wrong, David Moyes can't David Moyes can't tell or whatever to Mavropanos to head the ball out instead of heading it into his own net. He can't tell a girl to kick it for a corner and to kick it for a throw-in, not a corner. There was defensive issues and there was defensive woes there today that completely reinforced why Kurt Zouma is so pivotal to this starting line. Zuma's had a lot of disrespect over the last couple of days on social media. I've heard some people say, oh no, Zouma shouldn't be starting. It should be Mavropanos and Aguerd. That is absolute rubbish. And that proved it today, because defensively we were an absolute shambles. An absolute shambles. Just all of it. At no moment of that game was I comfortable with those 2 centre-halves, because they kept making mistakes. And do you know what, it wasn't just the goals, there was a lot of moments, and Brentford could have scored a hell of a lot more than they did today. They had a lot of chances, they had a lot of the ball, yes, and they had a lot of chances where if they'd have been a little bit more clinical, they could have scored a hell of a lot more, Steve, because for huge proportions of that game, not only did they have the possession, but they were battering us as well. It was just coming back and back and back. For the first Brentford goal, where's the communication from Areola? All you've got to do is tell Souček or just shout leave, and it goes out and they don't score. That is on Areola. People will complain about Souček, but he wasn't to know there wasn't anyone behind him. That's the goalkeeper's job to shout and tell him that there was no one there. That's on Areola. And for the other goals, it's just big defensive errors. Aguerd usually has one iffy moment a game. He had about 5 or 6 today. Mavropanos was dodgy, some really sloppy passing, and of course the own goal as well. I mean, could he not have got over it and headed it back out? Why did he need to head it over the bar? Another schoolboy error, and we missed a voice in there. There was no communication in that back 4 from the goalkeeper all through the back 4. I thought I thought Emerson had an okay game. I thought Soufal wasn't very good, but I thought Emerson had an okay game. But those two centre halves didn't drown themselves in any glory today. We just looked so weak at the back, and we missed a voice of Kudus. We missed the dominance and assertive nature of our captain today. And that was a notable loss, alongside, of course, Alvarez not being there because Souček was poor today. We've got back to the stage with Souček where he's not scoring goals and he's just dawdling round. I know we couldn't have done anything about it today. Souček literally had to start because we've got nobody else, but he was just dawdling round. He had no impact on the game. I thought James Ward-Prowse was pretty similar, didn't have any impact on the game, which resulted in our midfield being incredibly weak, overrun, because Kudus and Bowen and Benrahma, whoever was playing on the wing, didn't cut inside and support enough. There was just huge gaps between the midfield and the attack and the midfield and the defence, which Brentford capitalised on massively, and they deserved to win. There's no doubt about it. But I think there's just the frustration there that a game was there to win, even at 2-1. We sat back. We sat back, and that was the issue today. Of course, if Antonio gets out of the way and Benny simply taps that in, then it's 3-1. It's a whole different story. But at the end of the day, it's not a game of if, buts, and maybe. We lost, and we've now got to reassess the situation. 3 consecutive losses in the Premier League. We are leaking goals. 4 against Villa, 3 again today. Defensively, we look really, really unstable. And that midfield, well, of course, we couldn't help it today because of the players being out, but the midfield was really, really unstable and weak today. We've just got to get back to a stage, or Moyes has got to find a ground where we can have enough to go forward, but then defensively we're just shocking. I mean, the in-game management today is something that I come back to because I just couldn't understand the subs, and the subs completely killed us off. And Moyes is going to get absolute pelters tonight. Some of it unfair and some of it very fair, I think, because without 3 of our three of our 4 best players weren't playing today. There's no doubt about that. If you look, Alvarez, Paqueta, and Kudus weren't playing. That's 3 out of our 4 best players. Bowen played, yes, he's our best player, but those, they weren't there today. But just a word before I bring Kudus on, just a word on our 2 goals. I thought, Kudus, what a goal. It's sensational. It's such a shame that it's come in a losing cost because it will be forgotten about, but that was a world-class goal from an outstanding footballer. I mean, when it matters in front of goal, he just pulls it out of the bag. It's a brilliant ball over the top from Saïd Benrahma, and just to do that, to even have the thought to do that is insane, and then to pull it off and execute it and to whack it into that top corner was truly brilliant. I literally couldn't believe what I saw. It was just brilliant from Mohamed Kudus. And then the Bowen goal as well, a lengthy VAR check, which was rightly given as a goal. That was good from Kudus again to have the awareness to get it down. It came off the post. It was slightly lucky, but that was very good. But that's where the positive sort of end, unfortunately. Let's take some of your comments and see what you guys are saying. Absolutely peed off with that result. Exactly. How many more reasons is the board going to give Moyes? How many more games? I don't know. Johnny says, hi guys. Dare I say you can't play Ward-Prowse and Souček together, not without either Alvarez or Paqueta in there as well. Not without Alvarez. It was explosive. Our midfield was really weak, but we all know that. We all knew that before the game. We were aware of the absentees that were going to be there today, and our midfield massively suffered for it, which is a shame. But I didn't see Ward-Prowse put one change in. Both of those midfielders were anonymous today. Ward-Prowse and Souček just dawdled their way around midfield. That's probably the reason we lost, to be honest with you. And I know they weren't playing in their favoured positions, but they were not up to the task today. And they were chucked in the deep end a little bit, but if we're being honest, not up to the task. I said it from the beginning. That was where the hole would be. No communication at the back. How bad was that, ref? I mean, a couple of times just to play the advantage. I know it's irrelevant in the grand scheme of the game, but a couple of advantages that should have been played. And the referee, even at the start, I thought just lost the flow of it and lost the control of the game, in my opinion. Kudus was brilliant in the first half. We looked fine going forward, but that was stopped in the second half. Moyes is so negative for sure. I 100% agree with that. Let's bring Curtis on. Curtis, bring some sense to this because I'm struggling.
Mate, do you know what? It was like a game of two halves. I thought we were superb in the first half. And I thought the half time came at the wrong time for us.
Yeah.
Go 2-1 up, could have made it 3-1 up. I'm not blaming any individual there, Benrahma or Antonio. I'm blaming the pair of them because that is schoolboy era. You should be communicating with each other. It looked like Benrahma had the better option.
Oh, 100%.
He should have been screaming for it. And if he had, and Antonio's heard it late and it's put him off, or they've seen each other in their eye line and it's put him off, yeah, it's just so unfortunate. But that should be 3-1. We're probably talking about a different game.
Yeah.
But then again,
the awareness is shocking from Mikel Antonio. I mean,
as a striker, if you're in that position, you're not looking round behind you. You've got the goal there. You're thinking the ball's flashed across the box. You're thinking, yeah, this is mine. And then that split second, that last second, where he's probably seen Benrahma come across, and it's probably slightly put him off. So that's why I'm saying that I don't want to blame any individual. I want to blame the pair of them for not communicating. Benrahma's behind him at one point. He knows Antonio's going to the ball. Let him go to the ball. But then, by the same token, Benrahma probably would have been in a better position to tap it in at a better angle.
Because they just tackled each other in the end.
Yeah, they put each other off. So that would have been 3-1. That would have changed the game, I reckon. But then again, saying that, come out at half time, we probably would have been too relaxed, sat back a little bit, and then right pressure on. I didn't get to see the first 15 minutes of the second half because the streams went down. Just as I got it on, Mavropanos got that own goal. Similar to Ben White's, just a bit further back in the 6-yard box. He's running onto it. For me, in hindsight, and I think Mavropanos will probably think this as well, maybe he should have just attacked it front on and just headed it back out the way it came from.
Well, yeah, that's what I've said. I've never played centre half in my life, but I'm thinking surely you can get over that and try and manoeuvre it back out because the worst thing happened there.
Well, exactly. Yeah, he's just tried being too clever and flicking it on.
Yeah.
And as he's running back towards his goal and he's flicked it on, the motion of his head and the way the ball and the spin of the ball, maybe he just took it into the roof of his own net. That was quite unfortunate, similar to Ben White's. We got one against Arsenal. Now we've conceded one. But that third goal for Brentford, I was sitting there thinking, right, you've got two players out wide. He's knocked it back, and they've both followed him that way. And you're thinking, he's onside. Surely one of you should be on him. You basically like man marking, and you've just left him free with all that space. He's played it back to, I think it was in Burmo, and then he's whipped the ball in. And it's like, firstly, that ball should never have come in. No. You should be reading that play and closing that down. And then as a defender, your job is to block or stop in any means from the ball going into the box. And then he jumps up. He's got virtually a free header in between two players. Keeper doesn't move. I think Areola, if he dives, he saves it. Don't know how late he saw it. I don't know how expectant he was of the header coming in. Great header.
The defending was schoolboy game. I mean, I think it yeah, it was the whole. I think it massively, as I said before you came on, we missed Zuma massively today. Just a voice. For that first goal, if Areola shouts to Souček, it's schoolboy stuff. You do it at the lowest level of football. It's the keeper's job to shout. Souček wasn't to know there was no one behind him. If he'd have left it and somebody tapped it in, he looks like a right prat. But he had to because. Obviously, Areola didn't shout to him. It's foul, clear, whatever you shout. I don't know, something to let him know that he could leave it because there was nobody behind him. If Areola shouts, we don't concede the first goal. defensively, if Mavropanos is a bit better, we don't concede the second goal, and the third goal again is just, it's simple defending, and it's all avoidable. That's the main thing. It's all avoidable, and I think Moyes will be absolutely livid with the defensive errors that we've made today. But everyone else is absolutely livid with him for the substitutions and the overall the in-game management that he made. On top of that as well, just before I move on, Sharky's gifted Hammerhead a membership. Sharky, thank you very much indeed. That is greatly appreciated. Miss Hammer, I hope you well. She says, just what, please tell me, were those subs and leave a passionate young Hammer on the bench. I just, honestly, I want to sit down with David Moyes and ask the question, because no journalist will, because they're worried they'll lose their job. Why did you not put Divine Mubama on the pitch over Danny Ings? Or, I'll rephrase it, what has Danny Ings done that Divine Mubama hasn't done to get onto that football pitch?
Yeah, nailed it, mate, with them points. I'll go back to the first goal. Absolutely. Souček doesn't get a call, obviously. If he does, it's too late. I said before the game that other than the keeper, the centre-back's got the best view of the pitch. The keeper, Areola, has got the best view on the pitch. He knows where he is. He can see in his peripheral, along the bar line, there's no one behind Souček. So even without looking at him, and looking behind him to say he can leave it, he should know that he should be able to leave it. And you just say, see it out. You can't say leave it. Well, if the ref hears you, then it's an indirect free kick. But you could probably get away with it. Leave it. But yeah, for me, that first one, where Souček jumps up, you've got another outfield player jumping with him. I can't remember who it was. But they both jump together. Why? One person goes and attacks the ball. The other people around him sweep up. It then gets knocked back out. It's an awful shot. It just stuffs it. It bounces into the ground, and you see it just before Neil Maupay drifts off and sits in front of the keeper. So then, as he's had that shot, it bounced into the ground, and he just got lucky. It's an avoidable goal. All goals are avoidable, all three of theirs, and that's the most frustrating thing about it. You think, like 2-1, almost made it 3-1. You go into half time, you think, lovely. I don't know what he said. But Thomas Frank probably went mad at his players as well when they've come out all guns blazing. We should have known that was going to happen. And then, I don't know, we just fell to pieces. And then I came back on and Mavropanos had scored. And I just thought, for the next 10 minutes after that, we looked like we were going to go and lose this 5-2. And then the subs that happened, now I'm sitting there and I'm like, really? Are you sure? Yeah. But you've been criticised for not making subs early enough, but you took off players like Antonio. Whether he was running to the ground, I don't know, but I didn't think he had a bad game, to be honest. It was, and you notice why.
I can see why he brought Fornals on, just to Ken. I can see why he brought Fornals on, because the midfield was getting completely overrun. And I said 5 minutes before, bring Fornals on just to put at the top of that midfield triangle, just to sort of stabilise it. It didn't work in the end, so I could see that. But the Ings ones, it's completely indefensible.
I could understand the Fornals one, but the player coming off, it was like Jared Bowen 3 years ago. He was always going to be the scapegoat at 60-minute mark. You knew Bowen was coming off. Now, Ben Rama's that new player. He has been for the past 2 years. You know that as soon as David Moyes makes the sub, the first player coming off is Ben Rama. I didn't think Ben Rama had a bad game today. I thought he was quite good, especially that first half. Going forward, we were excellent. All four forward players were good. So I couldn't understand that one. But then who else you take off? I think you could have made the Fornals and Benny change, but then why bring on Danny Ings? It's like you make it far too early. Like you could have, because the difference is Danny Ings doesn't run. He wants the ball. He wants you to go out wide and knock the ball in, and he's there to tap in. He's not a player that runs. He's not a player that finds space. He's a player that wants the ball just to fall to him, for him to tap it in inside the box. Whereas Antonio, he will run the channels. He will clip the ball in. You see that for the Kudus goal. He got the assist for that. He does a lot more, and I don't think it's fair that Antonio gets the criticism that he gets half the time. Yeah, he's poor, he's clumsy, but you can see that we missed him as soon as he went off, because Danny Ings, the replacement. If you put Mobama in, he makes the runs. He's an out-and-out forward, so he makes the runs.
He's got some energy. He's got some desire. He makes the runs. He's gonna be effective. But yeah.
Whereas Danny Ings is too static and he's too old and he's on his Zimmer frame and you've got everyone
literally
to mark him because he just does not move.
Right. I wish you were exaggerating, but you're really not. It's that bad. I'm going to have to wrap things up. Thank you very much indeed, everybody, for joining. Drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Curtis, just give us some final overriding thoughts on that.
If we had played like we did in the first half and we just got outclassed and it was well worked. I mean, some of the goals from Brentford were well worked, but poor individual decisions and mistakes led to them goals from us. But if we had got beaten, then I'd have said fair play on pure quality, but it wasn't. All goals were avoidable. We dropped our levels, and Moyes, you done well at the start. Like you took one step forward and 5 steps back as soon as you made them substitutions. It baffled every single fan watching. Everyone knows that you don't bring Danny Ings on unless you're going to play him with a 2, and you certainly don't make that individual sub that early in the game because we said it before, he's not going to make a direct impact. Bring on the youngster. He's hungry. He wants it. It turned from, if it had finished 2-2, would have been happy. Like I said before the game, I predicted 2-2. I would have took a point. And you think, right, okay, we were 2-1 up, lost 2 points there, but still happy with a point. But now we've just lost everything. And it was because of the decisions from David Moyes once again. It's just frustrating, man. Yeah.
All of a sudden now we've got a very, very important game a week tomorrow at the London Stadium against Nottingham Forest. It wasn't similar, but it was a must-win game against them last year at home, and we managed to get the job done. Danny Ings scored 2 goals in that game. I can't see him scoring 2 goals next week. But look, that game is now a must-win because we've lost 3 consecutive games in the Premier League. We're leaking goals. We're defensively inept. We're tactically inept. And the only sort of shining light at the moment is probably Bowen and Mohamed Kudus. They're the only ones that are sticking out and keeping this together at the moment. Kudus, thank you very much indeed for joining me pre-match and post-match. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much, mate.
That's all right, mate. No worries. Anytime.
From us, come on, you Irons. We'll have some more. I'll have some more reaction to this coming tomorrow and probably Monday, a roundup show on Monday as well. But until then, thank you very much. Come on, you Irons, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.